Today we're gonna be finishing up corn silage harvest. Just brought the plastic up here. Got one here and then one on the other side of that wall we're gonna roll out and pull up over the walls. The reason for the plastic is we wanna keep the oxygen out as much as possible to keep the mold from growing. We're gonna hang it over the walls, and then after it's full, we can pull it up over and it'll really seal up the corner nice. Gotta get some energy before I get started. We got the plastic up on one side so far. The reason we go the whole way down to the floor with it is not because it actually needs to be down that far. The walls are fine, there's not gonna be any air getting through the walls, but it's a lot easier to hold the plastic in place. We can just pile silage here on the first load, and it holds the plastic here, and then we don't have to worry about the wind kicking up and blowing it away or something. This tractor, if you remember last time, the 3 points weren't working. It was just an electronic issue. There's a bad connection in there somewhere. Got fixed, it wasn't a big deal. Just gotta get this thing off of here. That jug my dad handed him there was the preserver, we call it. So that'll slowly, it's just a liquid that'll slowly dribble out with the corn as it's going through, and it'll help it ferment properly and preserve it, help it last in the bunk better. All right, up. First load will soon be in here. This bunk is 34 feet wide and the middle one was 42 feet wide, so it's just a little bit smaller. It won't take quite as long to fill, probably 75 loads or so. Now I'm gonna get down here and hold the plastic down so Dad can dump some silage over the edge so the wind don't blow it around. What we're chopping here, it's the whole corn stalk, including the ear, so the grain is in here and everything's mixed together. We like to check, make sure the kernels are getting crushed up really well. I don't know if you can tell, there's no whole kernels there. Here's one that I can see that's kind of a half kernel. They're whole kernels, they can pass right through the cow and they won't be able to absorb the nutrients out of it, get the energy out of it like they should. The chopper has a processor in it, so it's two big rolls that come together that it runs through real quick and it crushes the kernels. And he can set them different, he can tighten them up if we need him to. What we're chopping today is Mycogen BMR 15B15. This is all corn that was planted later, and it was after we harvested triticale, so this is all double cropped. Second crop we got off of this land this year. Pretty nice looking ear. We don't usually expect quite as good of yields from the double cropped corn, but still should be pretty good this year with the good growing year we had. I hate to see this go to waste. I can barely see out of my tractor windows. I'm gonna watch them a little bit and then we can start packing. Going back and forth real slow and just want to pack everything as tight as we can. So what we're doing is we're forcing the oxygen out so that the mold can't grow and it'll help the feed store properly. I like to turn sideways here in the back and can usually get the back edge pretty good. Now they're chopping here at the home farm right out there. Dad's running the Packer tractor now. We think the moisture is pretty good. I got a bucket of a little bit here. I'm gonna go put it on the tester and see what the moisture is right now. I put an amount into that container there and went up to 100% here. And then I'll put it on the heater and it'll cook out all the moisture, and then whatever percentage is dropped, that was the moisture, how much the moisture weighed. Plug it in, that little heat will just run up through there. That's right, guys, I bought a drone. Gonna take a little practice to get better at it, but it's pretty fun. I let this thing run here for an hour, now I put it back on the scales, and it lost 68% of its weight. That means 68% moisture, which is perfect. So shut this off. Wetter is generally better for feeding out. As far as the cows, they like more moisture in their TMR, and it's also better for packing. If you have drier silage, it'll just be fluffier and it's harder to get it to pack really well. And you don't want it too wet though, because it'll juice out and a bunch of juices will just flow out for a while. For weeks you can do that if you get too much moisture in it when you harvest. So we want to get that good balance where it's not too wet, but there's a lot of moisture there. Seems to be yielding really well. We're only on our second field right now. Still packing. Now, one thing you want to check for, we usually have to run the corn through the cows to turn it into milk. Every once in a while, you just check in here. Seriously though, it's delicious. We're gonna have quite a bit left over. We got not enough space in this bunk, so we're gonna stop and we're cleaning up the third bunk now. We decided we're gonna put it on the third bunk. That'll just simplify things. Gonna have to clean it out a little bit here. With all this extra feed, we had to make a decision we were gonna put in the silo and realized we had way too much. So we finally decided we're just gonna put in this third bunk in front of what we were just feeding out of. There was about, I don't know, 30 feet in the back of that bunk that we had to stop. And we're just gonna have to switch now and start feeding out of the stuff we harvested a couple weeks ago here in the middle bunk. We had a couple options. We thought about making an ag bag or put some in the silo and then some in an ag bag. We weren't sure, just because we wanted to keep feeding out of this bunk here. But decided since we have the storage, we might as well just stick it in there, and that'll work fine. We haven't done that before. We haven't put any feed in front of stuff that was already there in the past, but I'm sure it'll work great. Got a crew here now. We're gonna work at covering this bunk. The first step is to put the oxygen barrier plastic down. So it's a clear, higher quality plastic. It's gonna seal out the oxygen, and we wanna get this against the feed, so we'll do this first. Now we'll get an extra bit. All right, that's good. Now we're gonna pull the back up first and fold it in, and then we'll be able to do the sides. Now we're gonna pull the plastic off the sidewall here and the stuff that we hung this morning, and you'll get to see why it's worth doing.
You look like a kid with that on.
Now you can see how well this edge is sealed up here now. Since we had that plastic down the wall, it's completely protected the whole way down through here. We got the sides folded over. Now we got a big piece we're gonna roll down the middle. That's a cap piece, and then we'll be ready for sandbags and tires. Right, Katie? This isn't gonna make a video, I guess. Yeah, we're gonna space them out a little more on this side, and then the west side we're gonna go right beside each other. Got sandbags on the edges. Now we're gonna cover every inch with tires, force all the oxygen out. So now we just gotta haul tires over here and let them stack them on the bunk. I'm in the shaving skid loader using the bell prongs. They work pretty good on skids. It's kind of nice having two skid loaders running, keeps it moving a little quicker. We finished up last night about 8:30. Got them both covered, had a lot of help. Didn't take very long. We were very happy with the yield. Averaged about 27 or 28 tons to the acre, which is not what we were expecting. Usually we're in the low 20s, especially on the double cropped corn silage. So very happy this year. My camera cannot pick up this at all. Well, we're done.